Michael Nelson Trout, the Millville Meteor, the best baseball player of our current generation, the 9-time All-Star, 8-time Silver Slugger, Rookie of the Year, and 3-time Most Valuable Player. Now, where does all of this transfer into MLB The Show? In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the history of Mike Trout cards in MLB The Show, going all the way back to MLB 17 and making it into the current MLB The Show 21. There have been a total of 11 Mike Trout cards since MLB The Show 17 released. We will be looking about how you obtained all 11 of those cards, as well as finding out which one was the best. Without further delay, I bring you the show history, Mike Trout. There are two very important things to know when talking about MLB The Show 17. One is that their online servers no longer exist, so some of the pictures and screenshots may not be as good. Two, the cap on every attribute was 99, not 125 like in every game since that. So that is also to be remembered when trying to compare cards across multiple games. Starting things off with the first Mike Trout card is his Live Series 99 overall card. Out of all the Trout cards we will cover in today's video, this is the only time Trout will get a 99 overall rating on his Live Series card. Every made hitting stat is above 90 with a top rating of 97 contact versus lefties. Also, when transferring these hitting stats to a 125 cap limit, you can only imagine how good they would be for a Live Series card. This card also has solid fielding stats with 90 base fielding in center, but a pretty weak arm. From MLB 17 to MLB 18, pulling Mike Trout from any pack was nearly impossible, but that did not stop a few memorable moments involving Trout pulls, like the Kevin G.O.D. pull. That is just an iconic moment in MLB The Show history. Moving on to December 15th, 2017, when the next Mike Trout card will be released in the Forever event. Trout's card this time around was a 2013 All-Star Flashback card, which you got when reaching 100 wins in the Forever event. One really interesting thing is that the card in the Forever event was actually worse than the Live Series card. Why they made the card that came out later in the year and should have been better worse is, I'm not really sure. But that's definitely an interesting thing to note when talking about MLB The Show 17 Mike Trout. Moving on to the worst MLB The Show of all time, unfortunately we do have to talk about MLB The Show 18. MLB The Show 18's program structure was weird, but we won't really talk about that until we get to Flashback Trout. For now, we will be quickly talking about his Live Series card. Since this is the first game with the 125 attributes, Trout's overall decreased a ton, becoming a 94 overall card. Believe it or not, despite changing the cap on hitting stats, Trout's card was worse than MLB 17. Hitting stats against lefties were down significantly, and it was a very similar card in general, despite a huge change in overall capping. The fielding generally remained the same, and the arm strength got worse, and speed, which is basically not going to change throughout the cards, remained the same. For 99 overall Trout this time, there was a significant difference. Immortal Mike Trout, oh my gosh! 99 Immortal Mike Trout came out on September 21st in a program with Immortal Dennis Eckersley and Immortal George Brett. Now, how to unlock this was a little bit tricky. See, right off the bat, you can unlock Brett by completing 6 Future Stars programs, but you couldn't get Eckersley and Trout as soon as the program dropped. To unlock Eckersley, you had to get the Finest voucher by completing the Finest program, which wasn't out at the time. And to get Trout at 100% of the program, you also had to do the postseason program and get that voucher. So, there was a lot of stuff to do. Trout's lowest hitting stat is 90 power versus lefties, but everything else is still above 100, highlighted by 110 power versus righties. Trout also has 92 defense in center field with still terrible arm strength, but great speed to go along with it. So that about wraps it up for MLB 18, and we can move into one of my favorite games, MLB The Show 19. Starting things off with Live Series Trout as normal. This year he was a 94, 96 overall card. Finished the year as a 96 overall by the end of the roster updates, and his card was really, really good. His stat line included much better stats versus righties, as he got 91 and 105 power while only sitting in the 80s for both stats against lefties. His fielding got below Diamond defense, being at an 89, only 1 point, with 79 arm strength and 83 speed. To this point in the series, this is probably the best Live Series Trout, only rivaled by MLB 17's Live Series, once you account for the 125 attribute cap. Now for the much more interesting part, Signature Series Mike Trout. Now, for Signature Series as a whole in MLB 19, you could say there were 1 or 2 cards, but it was a relatively small series in general. But anyway, Signature Series Mike Trout was released on November 22nd with the 10th inning program. For those of you who play now and know how the inning program works, it's basically the exact same thing, except with Battle Stars, not XP, because XP was linked to the XP reward path, but that is not important. As for the other two bosses in the 10th inning program, Signature Series Alopoulos and Signature Series Mike Schmidt. So it was a fairly tough choice because both those cards were absolutely goons. But when I played, I ended up picking Trout. Now for the stat line of Trout, he was a monster. 120 contact versus righties, 109 versus lefties with 117 and 104 power. All to go along with that was 91 fielding, 81 arm strength, and 94 speed. So that about wraps it up for MLB The Show 19, and we can move into probably the best two games that have the best Mike Trouts, MLB The Show 20 and MLB The Show 21. Starting things off, not wasting any time, hopping right into MLB The Show 20's Live Series Trout, and this card is an absolute monster. This was by far the best Live Series Trout they've ever released. It's better than the Immortal Mike Trout from MLB The Show 18, and you can just get this by opening a standard pack. That's just ridiculous how good this card was, just for a Live Series. Everyone, I am so sorry for our technical difficulties. When I was talking about the card that was better than the Immortal Mike Trout, I was talking about the wrong Live Series. I actually going to be talking about the MLB The Show 21 Live Series. And this card, it was okay, you know, not bad. Could have some improvements. It was alright, I guess, What is this card? It is insane. Taking a look at Live Series Trout's stat line, basically the same in terms of fielding and speed, but when you get down to the hitting, it's really, really good. 109, 115 versus righties, 95, 87 versus lefties. That is so good for a card that came out on day one of the game. This card can actually get even better. Through paralleling, it can become a parallel 5, meaning +5 to every stat line. Every stat gets +5. So for a Live Series card, its power can get up to 120. That's just ridiculous. Now for the 99 overall Trout and MLB Show 21, it was also very interesting. So Trout was a World Series award that came out in early December and was the final World Series award for MLB Show 21. Now, the very interesting part is he was a finalist for MLB Show 19 type of card art. Why they did this, I'm not quite sure, but they did it. Now, taking a look at Trout's stat line, 122 and 110 contact with 125 and 119 power. That's not bad. You only got 95 fielding and 95 speed to go along with that. Like, dude, how do you make such a good card? Not to mention all these amazing stats. Trout has a great swing. This is probably the best card in MLB The Show history. So, that about wraps it up. Thank you all so much for watching MLB The Show History Mike Trout. This was a great video to make. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more of the show history. This was a very difficult video to make, so, we've covered everything. There's nothing else to talk about. Here we are, the best Mike Trout card. The single best card in Diamond Dynasty history is MLB The Show 20 Awards MVP Mike Trout. The normal base version of this card was obtained as a Big Legends Flashback Collection in MLB The Show 20 and was released on June 28th. For the second 99 Trout was a Prestige version of the exact same card. So, similar to parallels in MLB The Show 21, you could upgrade some cards in MLB The Show 20 to higher overalls, boost every stat by 3 if you got a certain amount of hits, home runs, RBIs, etc. As for Trout's stats, they are really, really good. 116, 97 contact, 125, 112 power with 86 vision, 94 fielding, 89 arm strength, and 90 speed. Is this worse than Finest Trout? Yeah, it actually is worse than Finest Trout. But my argument is, I just think this card is played better. It played so well above its attributes. It played so well for how MLB The Show 20 was designed. And it was out much longer than 99 Finest Trout was. That's why I'm deeming it the best card in the game, in the best Trout of all time. Here are Prestige Trout's attributes. They are basically the same as the normal Trout, but it's +3 every attribute because that's how Prestige worked. So that's it. That's the end. That is every Mike Trout covered. That is every single card, how it came out, all the attributes, all that stuff. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like and subscribe. This was a very difficult video to make, and every like, every sub, every view means a ton to me. So if you could just do one of those things, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you do want to see more of the show history, I'll be happy to produce. Leave some suggestions in the comments. Also, comment what your favorite Trout card is. Is it the finest? Is it the MVP? Is it one of the earlier ones? Let me know. Anyway, I'm Gaming. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Thank you so much for watching. And stay tuned for more show history.